to the sound current, and then it changes your frequency. Because everything is about frequency. We're all about frequency, and you are whatever it is that you resonate with. And if I could spend, if a person spends their time, kind of talking bad about everything and everyone, then that creates a certain kind of frequency. But if you, anything might come up in the day, people might get angry or upset or whatever, but a quick way to turn that around is with some kind of mantra or something to be said. And that just kind of cuts through the negativity of it, right? There are mantras and all kinds of bani and things like this for any kind of thing you can imagine. And by putting it out there and saying those words, you've just changed your frequency. And when you do it over time, when you're reciting and saying things, over time what happens is it literally repatterns the neurons in your brain. Okay? Who wouldn't want that? It's very helpful sometimes, because we all come in, we have gone through lots of things in our lives. We've had, sometimes a lot of traumas or difficulty. We've been raised a certain way. And so then we have, it creates a sum total of what we are now, okay? And then, based on all of that, we start speaking a certain way, acting a certain way. That creates a whole groove for you. In Japji, in the 20th Pauri, it says, Kar kar karna likhle jao. Like what your actions are that you do over and over again are engraved on your soul. So it's whatever I do, it's like, okay, it's the typical thing, okay, my wife talked to me this way, I respond like that. This person at work did this, I do that. This person cut me off on the road, I cuss them out. Or whatever it is, okay? We do certain things. That all creates, there's like a certain cause and effect. It goes around and around. But the fast way of getting out of that is when I take that energy instead of what I'm speaking, and I recite some of these other things that are to change, that are to raise your frequency. And then over time, I'm able to more easily get out of some of these old habits and start doing something else. And that's what all of this is about. Because and all you have to do is you sing the words and you put an intent there, but you're really kind of merging with it. Okay? And you merge with it and it works everything out. You don't even necessarily have to think, okay, like at every moment, I want to get rid of I have so much anger, I want to get rid of that, because you don't need to be focusing on that. Instead, you're simply putting your focus here on other sounds, and then it creates the effects and the changes, and over time, repatterns the neurons of your brain and corrects the thought pattern that you have. We have a very beautiful Bhagat, it's called. He was a devotee saint, and he has one writing in the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib. The Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib is our, the holy scriptures of the Sikhs, and we consider it to be our guru, basically. Not a guru in a human form now, but rather in all the sound current and in the word. And this devotee saint has one writing in the Siddhi Guru Granth, and his name is Ramanand. And his writing, basically he's saying, if there were anywhere better to go than with God, I would go there. But there's all the happiness, all these wonderful things are with God. And the word, and what he says, his last line I love, the word of the Guru Shabad gets rid of the karma of millions of past actions. Who wouldn't want that? You know, millions of past actions, because it's scrubbing it clean. It just cleans you out. And it helps you also to create, you know, new patterns and healthier ways of behaving and thinking and looking at things. And then when you do that, you find that you've attracted other things to you. Sometimes what happens is that old friendships or relationships fall away because they don't serve this anymore. They were of a different frequency. And now you've changed your frequency, and then other things come into your life to match the new frequency. So we have a great story here about another one of the saint devotees who has writings in the city of Gurubani named Kabir. And Kabir he really admired Ramanand that I just spoke about. Ramanand actually was a spiritual teacher of many. And many of the people that we see their writings in the city of Gurubani, he was their spiritual teacher. Well, Kabir really wanted to have Ramanand as his teacher. He knew in his heart that Ramanand was his spiritual teacher. But he was like, you know, I have a dilemma here. You know, I'm like a Muslim weaver, which was considered like an untouchable caste to them. And Ramanand is a Brahmin. He's like the highest caste. He's not going to ever teach me. He's never going to accept me as his student or initiate me. Okay, so Kabir didn't know what he should do. So there was this wise man that lived in their village, and Kabir went to him to ask for advice. And he said, look, you know, I'm the untouchable caste. Ramanand is this super Brahmin. He's not going to accept me. You know, I was born in the Brahmin caste, but, you know, Kabir was born in the Brahmin caste, but he got lost when he was little. And these weavers picked him up, and they raised him. And they were very beautiful people, and they made him what he was. But they were of the lowest caste, so he was never going to have the opportunity to learn with Ramanand. And so he said, you know, if I go and if I try to ask Ramanand to be a student, he's going to say, no, go ahead and, you know, live your life, and when you die, then you'll come back in another life as a different caste, and then I can teach you. And Kabir's already saying, I want to do that. I don't want to waste this life. I want to learn in this life. So what should I do? So this wise man said, okay, so you feel in your heart that Ramanand is your teacher, right? Right. And you want him to give you a mantra? Because a mantra it was the kind of thing if they would touch the student and give them a mantra, and that would be like an initiation. So you want the mantra from him? And Kabir says yes. And so the wise man said, oh, this is so easy. This is easy. Every day, Ramanand goes down, he walks down these steps to go to the river, and he goes there to take a bath before doing his sadhana and meditation. And all you have to do is dress up and lay on one of those steps. Everything else will work itself out. Okay, so Kabir, he gets up really early, like Ramanand is going to walk down there at about 3 a.m. He gets up at 2, and he gets all dressed and everything, and he lays down on one of the steps that Ramanand is going to pass, and he's really quiet and still. And Ramanand is walking along, you know, like we do. In the morning, you know, you're getting up for sadhana, you're preparing everything, you're kind of on automatic pilot. Okay, I gotta go take my shower, I gotta do this thing, and then you get ready and then you go meditate. Well, Ramanand was no different. He was walking down the steps, and then he realizes he stepped on someone. And then he goes, oh, Ram, did I hurt you? Say Ram. Here he goes, Ram. And then he goes, Ram, are you okay? Say Ram. and you'll feel better, it will heal you. And so he basically, stepped on him with his foot and touched him and gave him a mantra. So Kabir's like, okay, I'm good. And then after this, it just kind of happened that way, because Ramanand, he wasn't thinking with his intellectual mind. It was like the compassionate heart. Like, oh, I just stepped on someone. I want them to feel better. Say Ram and you'll feel better. So after this happened, he just continued teaching Kabir. And Kabir kept learning, and even some other people, they were kind of like, why are you teaching this guy? He's an untouchable. Why would you do that? And he's like, well, I accidentally stepped on him and I told him to say Ram, so what could I do? And so Kabir just continued, just continued learning. And Kabir became so self-realized himself that even he said, I was chanting Ram, Ram, but now Ram is chanting Kabir, Kabir. So he actually, this is what we mean, because it's like he didn't just chant Ram. It wasn't just, this is my sadhana. Okay, I did my sadhana today, check. He chanted so that he could merge in it. And Kabir merged in Ram, the Shabad. And so that's what we are looking for here with, that's what the technology of sound current is. And it's a sound current. It's like a water that we can use it in a couple different ways. There are like a few technologies about it. The first one is that you can always go to the Siddhi Guru Granth or for any of these writings, and you can go there for guidance, okay? Like you want to figure something out in your life, or you don't know exactly what to do, you can go there and you can ask for guidance. And if you really have like a clear intent and everything, it's kind of amazing, the guidance that comes. And then the other part of it too is that you don't even need to know what things mean. By reading and reciting, there's your higher self, your higher part of you does know what everything means, and you are just connecting to that. And that is what produces all the changes. So this is, when we talk about it, it's like, it's a technology, but it's a very devotional technology. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the Siddhi Singh Sahib Yogi Bhajan said that the secret of reciting, the secret of Bani, he said, is when you are reciting and it resounds at your navel. Because when you can do that, when all your speaking and everything can resound at the navel, then everything in you becomes perfectly balanced. So that's just a little clue for any of these things when you're reading or whatever. Just remember that. And if you don't know what that is, just kind of put your intent there, that it will resound at the navel. You can practice that, and it will help serve you.
Thanks, Haridara. One time I asked a yoga teacher, what does that mean, chant from your navel? I mean, you're now this year. I didn't really understand it. And she said to me, well, one thing that would help is if you speak as if you're speaking to the person all the way in the back of the room. So that was a helpful hint for me.
The difference in it would be like, I'm speaking now from the navel, okay, but if I'm saying chanting and I say, Ek Onkar Satguru Prasad, Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar, that's coming from here. ek onkar, Satguru Prasad, Satguru Prasad, ek onkar. That's coming from here. And so the difference will be if you can do it in the right way, like if you're reading something that other people should be able to feel it too. If you're tuned into it, you can feel where someone's at when they're chanting or even speaking to you. And you can, and also we always all know it anyway, because we're all intuitive, aware beings. We always really know, even if we don't consciously know. You know where someone's at, and you know where you're at. So anyway, that would be one way of doing it. There's like a projection, because when you project out also, like from your navel, that's what creates impact. So for your words to be meaningful and create an impact to everyone and everything around you, that's the secret of chanting from the navel. But I also include my heart in it, because there's devotion. Otherwise, drill sergeants also just come from the navel maybe, but we don't want to be drill sergeants necessarily. So so the heart is there because there's always a devotion, and when you put those two things together, it's unstoppable.
Thanks. Satya.
So, is that turned on? Can everyone hear? Just adding something to Hari Dharam.